Hello, everyone. Welcome to Story Time with the Anthony KT, Episode 2, Part 5. Wow, Part 5. We are moving right along with the young man. Now, as I said in Part 1 of Episode 2, is that there are 6 pages of the young man, and I wanted to take my time with this and make sure I read it through in parts and not fully. And that's what we've been doing. So for those who have been sticking with me for every single part, I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. And I appreciate for coming on the page and just checking it out, as well as all the other stuff. If you're listening to this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit a like button. If you feel like leaving a comment, let me know what y'all think so far. Go ahead and do that. So where we left, so previously on Part 4, we left with the young man and the young woman, not only just good friends, but best friends, having a relationship that is very rare, very unforgettable, very pure. And what the young man had learned about his relationship, what he had felt for the young woman, was more than just two best friends that care about each other. It was love. He was in love with the young woman, but he was too scared to actually say he was in love with the young woman, out of fear that if he had told her, he might have lost her. He might lose her. And losing someone that had become so important to his life, his reason for getting out of bed, he didn't want to take that chance. So he held on to those feelings he had for her and buried them deep within his heart and within his soul. And as they got older, as the young woman got married, as the young woman had her 2 kids, the young man was always there for her. And it was the same for the young man to the young woman. When the young man got married and the young man had his kids, the young woman was always there for her. So now, where we are, that was episode 4. So now we pick up where we left off in part 4 with part 5. Suddenly, the young man and the young woman were the old man and the old woman. 40 years of friendship, and every day they made time for each other to sit at their favorite bench in the park and talk about anything and everything. 40 years of friendship, and the old man's love was still as strong as it has always been for the old woman. For 40 years, he wanted to confess his love to her, but he knew he could never do such a thing. 40 years, that love for her was still buried deep within his heart, never to see the light of day. On a cold fall day in the middle of October, the young man, now an old man, with his wife passed away and his children living their own lives, he turns to the young woman, now an old woman, and says, "When I die, I want you next to me, so I know that I have been loved and that I have lived a good life." The old woman turned her head back toward the old man, puts his hand in her hand, and says, "You are loved and you have lived a good life. But when the time comes, I will hold your hand and make sure you know how much you were loved and how good a life you lived." 3 mornings later, after a cold and rainy storm, the sun was finally shining once again, and the old man gets a call from one of the old woman's daughters saying that the old woman has passed away. The old man was stiller than a tree on a windy day as tears fell from his eyes and the phone drops from his hand and hits the floor. The old woman meant more to him than she would have ever known. The old man loved the old woman, and she knew it. The love he had for her since he was a young man was still very much buried deep in his heart, and suddenly he felt regret for never telling her his love for her. Regret for never telling her that being around her made him feel like he was home. The old man, to the old man, the old woman was home, and it was breaking his heart that she never knew it. Never knew that. And that is where we're going to stop. We are coming very close to the end of The Young Man, but we will continue this on with part 6 another day. So for now, in the meantime and in the between time, until next time, peace, y'all.